Hey Magic collectors out there, there's a lot of good beta forgeries going around lately, and I found, I wanted to produce this video to show a few of the different ways that you can detect forgeries that I didn't know before, and that now that I do know, wanted to share with the community. Of these three cards right here, you can probably guess that the Gauntlet of Might is actually a fake one, and it's an extremely good fake. The thickness is perfectly on, the back looks great. Even if you look at this with a close loop, you will see that the print pattern is perfect. It uses all the correct mosaics that a Magic card should have on the back and the front. It feels right. It will pass the bend test, no problem. Go right back into position. But there is still a few other things that people should be aware of that are wrong with this card. Now, first one, and this one is not usually apparent, but what this is a rebacked collector's edition card, which was common a few years ago, and they seem to be resurfacing again because they're really hard to tell. And the fact that it's a rebacked one means that the print pattern will be perfect, because both sides are from Wizards of the Coast, and so there's no problem there. And so what they do for a rebacked card is they take the collector's edition card, they skin off the gold colored backboard or back. Then they take a real Magic card, skin off the front, glue them two together, and you get a real front and a real back. And then the last part is they shave the corners. Now, one of the problems with this is that when they shave the corners to hide the fact that there's two pieces glued together, which you really can't see because it does have the blue line, the shaving ends up taking off a little bit more. So one of the first things you can do is you're like, hey, this is slightly suspect. This is a real beta card. You can match the sizes up. Now, the problem with matching the two sizes up is that it's really hard to tell. You really can't see that anything's wrong. So what I do is I take an unlimited card, which has a inverted color border, match it up, and you will see that there is definitely white overlap here. And you wouldn't have seen that when you're matching the beta, but you can see it when you're matching an unlimited. And that means that the card has been shaved. If I match up a real beta card with the unlimited card, and I match these up, they should fit perfectly snug on top of each other, and that's because of the machine cut. And once again, because this one has been trimmed down artificially, even as close as I try to get, you'll still see a little bit of white on the top, which is no good. In addition, the collector's edition cards had a slightly different sheen on the front. So although you can't really tell here, this one will feel a little more waxy and a little more shiny, as where a real card or a real beta will feel a little more grainy to the touch, almost like this one's not real and this one is real. But this one is just a little too shiny, so something to be aware of. Then, of course, when you're taking into account buying beta condition, can definitely get you too excited, and you'll do a purchase that may be the wrong choice. So this card was in great condition. I bought it about a year ago because I didn't know any better, and then finally found out that it was a forgery. Really good one, though. So, the bend test I really don't recommend. I just did it, but it does wear out your cards. I highly recommend against it because this one, remember, did pass the bend test. In addition, the water test will pass because, once again, this is a real Magic card, right? It just happens to be falsified on one side. All right, so I've set up the light test for us. On the right-hand side, we've got the Gauntlet of Might. On the left-hand side, we have a beta Goblin King. Now, so far, I'm about a foot away from the light source, and you'll notice that the Gauntlet of Might is already starting to show the text through the back side, which is bad. So we've got a problem already. As I approach the light source, let me adjust my camera here, you'll see that the Gauntlet of Might is showing through a good deal more than the Goblin King on the left. So the Goblin King is now just starting to show the text on the bottom and a little bit of the image. This one is showing very clearly through here, which means that there's a problem. And if I go a little bit closer here, let me adjust again, you'll see that this is now showing through well. This is really way showing through too much. In addition, you'll notice over here that and it's hard to show on the camera here, but the image in here is going to be very clear. And on this one, you'll notice that there's a lot of marbling going on, a lot of dark spots. And that's because of the double sanding of the paper used here. If it was printed correctly by Wizards, there should be no marbling. It should be a very clear image like the one on the left, rather than these dark spots like the one on the right. So this is the alternate light test. It's using another bright source behind it to show you that marbling that I was talking about. So over here on the left, I've got the Goblin King, and on the right, I've got the Gauntlet of Might. So right now you'll notice that the Goblin King is showing through fine, which is good. You'll notice that the text is very clear, and you can see through the image, you can see that the Goblin King, he looks great. He's not grainy, he's not blurry, he's looking good. And you will see a little bit of grain, but not too much. And when I switch this for the Gauntlet of Might, you'll see that a lot more light is coming through, right? You'll see this marbling on the bottom, and you see this blackness all over the place, right? As if something clung to it. This is from the double sanding of the collector's edition card. So you see darkness, darkness. It looks like it was shaved in a downward manner. Same thing up here. The image isn't coming through clearly. It's a very dark pattern, not as light as before. Even in the magic, look at the blue up here. There's a lot of black marbling inside of here as well. We switch back over to this one. Look at that. Very clear blue. It's a little bit grainy. It's got some texture to it, but not nearly as much as over here. Something definitely looks wrong. And also just look at the amount of light showing through. Here's the Goblin King. Here's the Gauntlet of Might. A lot more coming through.